Hello there, everybody. Just wanted to come on just a couple of minutes early. Tonight I've been very excited. We're going to have Katryce Pedro on with us on News You Can Use. She is also known as the Funny Mama, and I am so pleased to bring this to you. And of course, this is Carol Maletta from the Parenting 411, where we share information parents need from sources they can trust. So come on in, tell your friends to come on in. And if they haven't joined the Parenting 411 community group yet, you've got to do that. And then you can tune into our conversation and just all of the programming that we have here today. Let me just check here on Facebook on my phone just to make sure everybody's tuning in and to see if anybody's having any problems getting in tonight. Let's see. And then we will bring our guest on. All right. I'm going to just go ahead and bring her on, and hopefully you all will come on in, join the conversation, ask your questions. And don't forget, you can join the conversation if you click the link for StreamYard, because we're streaming via StreamYard. So, okay, welcome, Katryce. Thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes. So, what is your little one doing right now? I was curious whether this is his bedtime or what.
Yeah, his bedtime is 8, so I just put him down like 15 minutes early. So he's down, and yeah, he's really, really good. I mean, he's a challenge, but he's really, really great about bedtime. So that's never
Okay, good. And somebody already has chimed in, said they love you.
Oh, hi.
Okay, so let's just get started. So why don't you just tell us about yourself, about your family, where you grew up, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. So I am 33. I'm a mom of 3 boys, 2 that I birthed, and 1 is my bonus baby. I was born in Santa Barbara, California, raised in PG County. Went back to Santa Barbara for culinary school, came back over here after I got pregnant with my first son. And yeah, my oldest is 14, my bonus baby is 13, and my youngest is 3. So okay. There's a big age gap between them.
Oh yeah. So then tell us what is the Funny Mama, first of all, and then just tell us how it got started.
So the Funny Mama is a safe place for moms to vent about the realities of motherhood. I felt like it started because I was going through postpartum depression after I had my youngest, Ashton, and I was just searching anywhere to find anyone I could connect with who could kind of understand the feelings I was having and, like just being overwhelmed with motherhood in general. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't really find anybody who was being transparent or open or honest about it. So I just started literally basically putting my business out there saying like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm not sure, like my kids are getting on my nerves and I feel like a bad mom because I'm saying it, but I love my kids and I feel like, God really blessed me because I always say it was the Funny Mama that got me out of my postpartum depression, because me being transparent and open attracted other moms that were going through the same thing, and we could talk about it and say, okay, well, these are some resources that I found, or here's a doctor that I spoke to, or a therapist that you can speak to. And it's just been a blessing in general, with my kids, especially my youngest son has autism. Mm-hmm. I get so many tips and tools and suggestions from other moms who are going through the same thing, and I try everything with him, and then I try to share that what has worked with Ashton, with mm-hmm. the tribe. That's as soon as you follow, you become a part of the tribe. So the whole goal is to normalize motherhood, because I feel like there is this unspoken pressure in society to be a perfect mom, especially with social media now. And I mean, that's just not how it is. It just, right. It's just not. And I feel like that is just, it adds an additional layer to the difficulties of being a mom. Obviously, there's so many blessings with being a mom, but it's very difficult. And I feel like trying to, you know, raise your children, keep them alive, and then now you want me to post perfect pictures and tell you perfect stories and make sure that they get straight A's and this and that. You know, it's just, it creates this pressure that is completely unnecessary. And you know, so that's the number one goal. And the second goal is to help moms rediscover themselves after motherhood, which is something that the Funny Mama also helps me with, because when I started, I feel at that point I had been a mom for 10 years, no, almost 11 years, and I had completely succumbed to motherhood and lost myself. I didn't even know like what I like to do, what brought me joy, because all I knew was doing things for my kids and making sure their grades were good and making sure I brought enough money home to pay for this and do that. And I you know, would spend time with my friends, but I didn't know who I was anymore. So the Funny Mama, I feel like, especially people who've been following me from the beginning, they've been on this journey with me. And you know, like I said, I'm very transparent in the things, me trying things, and I'm like, okay, I don't like this. I know I don't like this, or I do like this. And you know, just exploring things that that just to figure out who I am, and to you know, set more goals for myself and have a plan for myself, because I know there's so many moms that they're you submerge yourself in motherhood so much that once your kids go to college, you're like, well, what do I do now? What is there? You know, like you have no clue what to do for the past 18 years or however many years. For me, it's going to be, I don't even know, 28 years before, well, not 28 years before, but by the time Ashton goes, I would have been a mom for 28 years. And that could be 28 years that you spent literally losing yourself, you know? So it's, I think it's just important to remember who you were before you had a mom. Before you had a child, understand who you are after you've evolved as a woman, after having, you know, children, and not to put yourself on the back burner, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And it's just interesting hearing you talk about this and saying that, you know, you didn't have other people, you didn't feel like you had initially other people that could relate to what you were going through. And it's like, wow, my children are 21, in their third year of college. And so that's how I felt years ago, you know, before, I mean, the internet, you know, and all of that, but no Facebook, no, none of this other stuff. And I felt very much the same way that you did. I had twins, and one of my sons had developmental delays. And so really, my tribe was kind of the other moms that I met in the reception area at the occupational therapist or the speech therapist or whatever. And I also struggled because I had never planned to be a stay-at-home mom. I had gone to graduate school. That's where I met my husband. And, you know, and he said, look, I know how hard you worked. I sat right beside you in class. So I'm not going to ask you to stay home, or, you know, I'm not going to ask you to not have a career. And so he was very surprised, though, because you know, once I realized what we were dealing with the developmental delays, I was like, if he's got to be going to these different specialists or whatever, I'm driving. I can't let somebody else do that. And I want to speak to them about what we should be working on at home and all of that stuff. So it's kind of interesting how we have a little bit and a little bit more in common than I thought. And then watching you on Instagram with your do-it-yourself projects, that was me as well. And like I said, I thought I was pretty talented till I saw you. You know, because what would happen is I would have all these projects I think of during the day, and my husband's at work, and he's the one that really, I knew how to do a few things, but like I was afraid of the drill, you know? So I wait for that kind of stuff, you know, when he came home. And so, you know, there was one project, I don't even know what it was. He came home and it did involve the drill, and I watched him real close. And that was the end of it.
Yeah.
After that, I mean, that was in our first house. I hung up all the shades, did everything, went around the house and did all kinds of stuff after that. After I watched him that one time,
Yeah.
and I kind of became the person to fix stuff after that. I mean, he's still decent enough, but really, I do a lot of it. Well, not now, but then. And so, I get a kick out of seeing you with all of your projects and things like that. So, yeah. So, what do you think? I know, like you said, all of us, we think we need to be this perfect mom, but it's just impossible to do that. And we sometimes don't give ourselves credit for things that we do well, that we're proud of with our children. So, what's something that you do that you feel pretty proud of as a mom?
I would say it's different things with all of my kids. With CJ, I think growing up, I was a very shy child and very I still am. Like networking events are like that's like my nightmare to go to a networking event. And I really didn't speak up for myself a lot. So with CJ, my first child, I really wanted to make sure that he was, brave and confident, and that was something. And I tell him all the time, I want to be just like you when I grow up, because he's so brave and he's so the person who, like, he is who he is, and he's not going to be changed by society at all. There's even like he's going through, how kids go through teenage phase where they like pick clothes that you're like, what the heck is that? He doesn't even pick stuff that like everybody else has. Like he picks stuff and I'm like, CJ, and he's like, I don't care, mom. I like it. That's what I want to wear. And I'm like, you know what? Okay. That's so I am so proud of him, and I just admire him in awe of like just how confident he is. And so that is something that I'm very proud of. With Elijah, my bonus baby, it's funny what I'm proud of with him, but when I first met him, when he was 4, he was extremely picky. He did not eat anything but chicken nuggets. That was it. And we would have times where by the time he was like 10, where he had a thing with beans. He just didn't like beans. And I was raised whatever the mom makes for dinner, that's what you eat. Like that's just it. And so, his dad would say like, oh, well, we could just get him something or make him some chicken nuggets. And I'm like, no, he needs to eat it. And one time I made him chili, and he was like, he would do this thing where he would act like he was going to throw up. Like he just could not. And we sat there for like 2 hours. Everybody had went upstairs, and I sat there and I was like, you're going to finish this whole bowl of chili. And now he not only tries new things, but he loves spicy foods, which he hated spicy foods. He'll try, like we go to a restaurant, he'll like, before it would just be like little things, he would step outside his comfort zone, but now he'll try more things. And that has kind of evolved more in different parts of his life. Not to say that I'm taking credit for, all of that, but he has become, more, he's exploring more, and he's grown so much in that. So he is my toughest, my pickiest food critic. So that is a huge thing for me. And I think for my youngest, for my toddler, I'm so proud of him because, when he got diagnosed, even with developmental delays, if you were to see him, like I show him on Instagram, but if you were to just see him on a daily basis, I was very, very concerned because he had no interest in anybody. He had no interest in hanging out. He had no interest in talking. He was almost like a robot. And I did a ton of research. I got a ton of suggestions and tips from everybody, and I did everything. COVID is terrible, but I am a strong believer in looking at the glass half full, and it has allowed me this one-on-one time with Ashton to be able to test and see what works for him. And now he's talking so much, even though a lot of the stuff he's working on his pronunciation, but he
Right.
wants to play with the kids. He now, when before toddlers would do stuff and they want you to see it and they want you to do it with them. Before, he wouldn't even care. Now he wants you to see him do things. He's calling my name. I wanted him to say my name so bad because he was nonverbal, and now he says it from the time he wakes up to the time he goes to sleep.
Wow.
So I'm proud of not only him, but there is a sense of pride that I get, in myself, because when it first happened, when we first saw that there was, some issues, I'm extremely impatient. It's something that every year for my New Year's resolution, I say I'm going to work on. Every year I'm at the same place. But with him, when it first happened, even when I was praying, I was just like, God, I cannot handle like this. I know you don't make any mistakes, but
Right.
I don't know how I'm supposed to do this. I'm so impatient. I'm a terrible teacher. And I'm like, how am I supposed to do this? But there's just there's a quality in moms that I feel like sometimes it lies dormant and some moms don't even have to use it. But when something like this happens, it comes out, and it's like, it's like, my child is going to be fine. I'm going to do every single thing I can do to fix it. And although I was exhausted, I'm still exhausted. I pushed, and I even pushed him. There are times where he was like, he just really didn't want to do it. And I'm like, nope, we're going to do this. And I would break it up and I'll find different ways and, all this stuff. And for me, I didn't even have it. My oldest son is so, he's very advanced. He's very independent. He's very social, like I said. So I never had to bring that quality out of me because, he was fine. So I just feel like as a mom, I have grown so much, even just during this COVID time, and just proven to myself, like, wow, you don't give yourself enough credit for, so that's why I always try to record him. And so I can compare to the year before to be like, wow, you really worked hard with him. So, yeah.
Yeah. I love when you do share videos of him as well. He's making tremendous progress. Yes. And, when my children were little, probably even about his age, I read somewhere something to the effect, and I'll have to paraphrase it, but something like that, what God wants to work on in you sometimes, and if he hasn't been able to get your attention, a lot of times it's through your children. There's something with them, whatever, something about their temperament, or it could be a challenge that they have or whatever, to bring that out of you. And I definitely felt that way with my children, because I was very impatient. And, I just felt like I even had this vision when I was pregnant with them that, they were going to be like, my little campers. I was this camp counselor, and they're just going to want to do everything that I want them to do. And it's just going to be fun and all that stuff. And, it just didn't happen with, either child. Obviously, they had their own minds and the way they like to do things. So, I said, well, I could see, the good thing is that I could see in them, even though, it was hard corralling those two kids with their being strong-willed and all of that. I saw blessings in each of them, in terms of, like, the one that was very observant and didn't like to talk a lot. I was like, well, that is a good quality.
Yeah.
And then my other son, that he just really had a lot of energy, and he played hard, but thank God he slept hard too.
Oh, good.
And so he had so much energy. He was just he wanted to just do just the opposite of what I wanted him to do all the time. And when he had meltdowns, he was just this force of nature. And obviously, in the right setting, that's just what you need as well. So, and and it's nice to see now that they're 21, to kind of see how it has played out, and those qualities have served them really well. But it's just kind of getting through there.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And just helping them to find, understand the way society works and all of that, and how sometimes you're going to have to you're just going to kind of have to go along. I should go along, for lack of a better word, but just to cooperate and all of that. And that there'll be other times when you can you can let all of that out. Like when I told my one son, because he would always, melt down, get on the floor, having a tantrum. And I said, listen, when we go out to the store and, if you ever get separated from me, that thing you do, that's what I want you to do. I want you to say, this is not my mother. I want you to go off. And, his eyes got really bright, like, oh, really? So I'll be able to do
I have
it.
permission?
Yeah. So I was like, and that's what you do. And then my other son, like that quality of him, being observant, that has really paid off as well too. And I know one time we were having a birthday party at our house, and we had a magician there, and we had probably 20 kids, because kids from both of their classes. And we're sitting, finally got them together. The magician's there, they're sitting down. So I thought I could take a break before the next activity or whatever it is. And so that one son was very observant, said, where's that boy? And I'm like, what boy? And I'm counting the heads over there. They're all there. Enjoy the magician, so I can take a break. He's like, no, Mom, where's that boy? I was like, which boy? And he said, this particular boy had spiky hair, the one whose hair's sticking up. And I was like, count it again. They're all over there. Turns out I was counting one of my kids twice, but anyway, I said, they're all over there. And then he wouldn't enjoy the show. He wouldn't settle down and look at the magician. And so then he said it one more time and was like more specific about what the boy looked like. And we were like, oh my God, he's not in here. And so, so I had to run upstairs, taking two at a time. Like, where is this kid? And then turns out he was up in one of the boys' loft bed under the covers reading a book.
Aww.
But it's like, but he was, that trait of his where he like, I know what I know. And, I'm not going to be quiet about it. And he still is that way. So
great.
It was difficult to deal with. It was, hard to parent with sometimes, but that has really held true since he was very little. So I can totally relate to what you're saying. So now let's see. We've got somebody else here. Let me see who that is. Just said something about you. So Lillian, thank you so much for tuning in. She's the one that said she loved you. Let me see. Somebody else said something about your content. Oh, yeah. My godson, who lives in Richmond, Virginia, he has 3 children. And he said he loves your content. She says you are super relatable and real.
Aw, thanks.
Thanks for tuning in, George. So now tell us about your book, the cookbook.
Okay, so my book is literally a dream come true for me. It's always been one of my goals. And for a long time I was, sharing my recipes on Instagram or on my blog. And there was a lot of times where people would message me like, hey, can you send me this? Or can you send me this recipe? And so I had started to say, like, jokingly, like, I'm going to have to do a cookbook. And then, I would have some people in the tribe say, oh my God, yeah, you definitely should. I would buy it if you did. And I think I was just so fearful of like, ooh, well, I don't know. I don't know how it's good. I'm very much like, once I jump off the ledge, then I'm fine. But it's getting me on the edge and actually jumping that is like, so, that was 3 years of me saying like, Yeah, maybe. I think I'm going to. When the cookbook comes out, and in my mind, I really had no intentions of any time soon doing a cookbook. And then in October, I am an event director for NASA, but they furloughed me.
Mm-hmm.
And which it was still a blessing that I even had my job the whole time, because there were no events happening. So, I wasn't angry or anything. I knew it was coming. I just,
Mm-hmm.
but at that point, I was like, oh, okay, well, you got to find a way to make some kind of money. Like, you have to. You can't,
Mm-hmm.
because even right after I got furloughed, when I filed for unemployment, the unemployment office is very overwhelmed right now. So they had all of my information, mixed up and messed up. It still is. I still have not received any money from the unemployment office.
Mm-hmm.
And when I put it in, they were trying to say that I should only get $114 a week. I'm like, I have 3 kids. How did you, in a house and a car, like, how did you get to this? So I was really like, okay, I got to figure something out. And I
Uh-huh.
do work best under pressure. I really do.
I do too.
And because if that, I'll be lazy. If I have that security net, I will literally just be like, oh, okay, well, when it happens, it happens. So my sister and brother-in-law, they're incredible videographers, photographers, creative directors, and I didn't even. They're so awesome. I literally didn't even ask them to do the cookbook. I just said, hey, I'm about to start coming over to cook. We need to take pictures for this cookbook, because I get paid for only. So they told me in the beginning of October, and then my last check would be like November 1st was like my last check. So I was like, I need to figure this out. We need to get this book done. I need to have it on sale by Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were like, okay. And so in the meantime, I started selling Funny Mama merchandise, and just, I'm like, okay, I need it. And again, I never thought it would sell. I thought I was just going to have a bunch of stuff. And every time, um, thank God. And I'm so grateful. I say it all the time. I'm really so grateful for the support of the tribe,
Mm-hmm.
because every time the stuff goes on sale, I'm always crying. I call my dad crying, like, I can't believe that they bought us. And every time he's like, are you gonna call me crying every time? But it really, when you started this off of postpartum depression, and it's grown into something where you have people who believe in you, and so I was over Bonnie's house every single day. The cookbook technically was supposed to have 75 recipes, but I'm a perfectionist, and there were certain things that I was just like, I'm not for sure on this recipe yet. Like, I just can't. And my sister and brother-in-law would be like, no, it's this delicious. You should. I'm like, we'll save it for the next for the next one.
Volume two.
Yeah, volume 2. I'm like, we can't. So, it's like 62 recipes, I think now. I cut out a lot of the recipes. I was just like, no, I don't want to. And by the grace of God, everything was so rushed almost. The best part was that I already had all of the recipes, or most of them.
Yeah.
There's 32 from Instagram and my blog, and then there's 30 that no one has seen, before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
but for those 32, they were already tried and true. Like, I could see what people were sharing, what they were saving, to see which ones were really like crowd favorites. And so that part wasn't difficult. My 2 best friends, I'm incredibly blessed to have such a talented tribe, like my own inner tribe.
Mm-hmm.
There's not, I don't need to step out for anything. And I don't feel like I try to tell them how grateful I am for them,
Mm-hmm.
because even with my mom, my mom is a leader in the hair industry, and she does like all these huge things. My dad is huge with music and production, and I'm really grateful. So my 2 best friends, my one friend Pam, she wrote for Tyler Perry. So I was
Hmm.
like, I need you to help me write these intros. It can't be the funny mama and each intro to the recipes are just boring. Like, this is a great chicken recipe. Like, no, it has to be funny. So we spent weeks writing, and it was so much fun, because we were like cracking each other up. And some stuff is like, okay, no, we took it too far. We need to bring it back. Or some stuff it was like, that's funny. And then my other friend, Brittany, she's incredible. And she edited the whole book. So we would send her the book. She would send us like 8 pages of edits, and then we would change those edits, and then she would come back with like 10 more pages of edits. So it was literally down to the wire. But I was like, my goal was to have it so that they went on sale before Christmas. And I knew I needed it because I needed to buy Christmas presents and do all this stuff. You know, I'm like, I have no job right now, you know. So we kept pushing it back, and finally, I was like, okay, I'm gonna put it on sale. And I told everyone on when at first I was supposed to do it Sunday, and then I got scared and I was like, no, I'm not ready yet. And then on that Wednesday, I said, okay, the book is going on sale tomorrow at 9. And by 9 o'clock, or I think it was at noon, I couldn't even get on the website, and the website was down. And we called our website server because I'm like, is there something wrong with my actual site? And they were like, no, there's too many people, it's too much volume on your page. And so we're like, okay, you know, I'm like trying to find all this stuff. And we couldn't even see how many people, we couldn't see if any books were purchased, we couldn't see anything because there was too many people, so we couldn't even get in on the back end. Wow. So then I posted like, hey, if you can't get in, send me an email. And then all of a sudden I started getting all these emails, and I think people getting off of the site then allowed us to go in because, you know, my PayPal account was saying that I was making nothing. And as soon as that happened, all of a sudden my phone was like ding, 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 like all of these orders. And I was like, oh my God, it's happening. At first I was like, nobody wants the book. And then it was like ding, 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 ding. All night long. The next day it was just going and going. And I could not even believe it. And my brother-in-law who did him and my sister did my website, but he's the one who kind of keeps it up to date and keeps track of it. He was like, he has it connected to his phone too. And he was like, my phone won't stop going off. Like, are you looking at what's happening? I'm like, this is crazy. I can't, believe it. And once we finally got to the stats, the website in the first day that had over 16,000 views. And it was crazy to me that had even, happened. And so it's something. I grew up watching the cooking channel when everybody else was watching cartoons. I was watching cooking channels from the time that I was like 2 years old. My parents always would make fun of me and said they knew I would be a chef. Well, not make fun of me, but they would always tease me because, and I mean, when I say it's a dream, it is a dream come true that I didn't think was going to happen anytime soon. And it did. And I can't even begin to express how grateful I am to, not only the tribe for buying the book, but to like my sister and brother-in-law who they have like real paying clients who they were like working with me and then staying up until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to do their actual work they're getting paid for. Right. So my whole family jumped in and I'm just the amount of support that I have received, and it's overwhelming in the best way. So yeah, so now I'm just waiting for the books to come in. We ordered them, we're waiting for them to come in, and then it's going to be a madhouse to ship them all out.
Now, for our viewers, tell them where they can order the book.
So they can go to thefunnymama.com. I think I have only 5 because I put more up, but I didn't make a huge announcement about it because I didn't want the site to go down again. So I think I have maybe 5 or 6 more available for purchase. I haven't.
Oh wow, 5 or 6 more copies?
Yeah, I put 50 more up, and then I think I only have 5 or 6 more copies. But you can go to thefunnymama.com, and then you just go to the Mama merch, and it's over there in the shop.
So, and they can still pre-order, and then
Well, for now, that's it. I've ordered way more than what we got, than the orders that we received. But I also, because due to COVID and stuff, most of the time it's just me packaging. But next week, because my sisters and I, we all got tested, they're gonna come and help me. But it's still going to be a lot for us to package and deliver. So I just want to make sure that I don't overwhelm myself or my family, isn't forget you. I'm not, this is too much. You've already worked this to the bone.
Well, when things die down a little bit, I'm going to buy a few copies too because I want to give it to like I'm going to my I don't know if my godson is still watching, but I'm going to get a copy for him and his wife and just a couple, a few other people too. But I'll I'll wait until until things die down a little bit. Let me see. I have something else here. Someone else said, "Oh, that's inspiring. What a story about believing in yourself, following your dream, and writing the book." Absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Helen. Thanks for tuning in. And Lillian and Evelyn, thank you guys. Thank you so much. So so now tell the viewers about the other merchandise that you have too, your mama merch.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I my goal with everything with a funny mama is to create like one of a kind type of things. Which is why I did like my door hangers, which there's some things that I I'm good at, but then it gets on my nerves. So like I used to have a cake shop called Dots Cakes where I used to do sculpted cakes. And I was really, really busy and it was making really great money. And I was over it after I did it for a very long time. I did it for about 6 or 7 years, but I don't even eat cake myself. So it was just like, oh my gosh. And then, it's something that, sometimes you're good at stuff, but it's really, and I think I do love these door hangers, but there's like wooden plaques that you put,
I
on
saw them, yeah.
But there's this one that just happened to be the most popular one. It's a jewel sign that like has like gold leaf around it. Yeah. I don't like glitter and I don't like shiny stuff. That's just me. And there's like in my hardwood floors, there's like glitter that we cannot get out. There was gold leaf everywhere. And it was just like a never ending sea of like gold leaf and glitter. And it just, for weeks, I was working on them and everybody was so patient and kind because they knew I was doing it by myself. But I was just like, I'm never selling these again. I'm gonna do door hangers, but I'm absolutely never doing that. I was just like, this is too much. This is just, maybe if I get like an intern next Christmas or something, but I cannot. So I do door hangers. So far, I've done like custom last name ones. I've done some for the fall and now the Christmas ones. And in the spring, I'm just spring line and then baby shower announcements. So it's like when for you put it on your door for when like anyone comes to visit or UPS or whatever, and it just basically says like, please don't knock, just leave the gift or leave the package or whatever because the baby is sleeping. Because once they ring the doorbell and you wake up the baby, then it's like, wow, you did.
Yes.
You hurt me. I know you meant to come here to help me, but so I do those. I do water bottles that.
It's not the one that's like, what does it say? It might be gin. It might be what is it?
It might be water, might be vodka, and then it might be juice, might be honey. So yeah, I sell those. I sell slipper. I love slippers so much. And I wanted something that people can use inside the house and outside of the house, especially during COVID, because you still want to look cute even though you're in the house. Right. Those have done so well. And I do aprons to say, let me go feed these kids. Yeah. And also my newest thing are some mugs that are about stretch marks, and there's some bad words in it, but it's all about women and female empowerment and basically like owning your stretch marks and saying, yeah, I have them, but that doesn't make me, less of an amazing woman. So in a nutshell, that's what it is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just so inspiring. And then, like I said, I can see from the comments, people are really inspired by your journey. And, I'm actually in a group. We're working on another book. I had one book that came out in September where I was part of an anthology. And so this one is as well. It's also business women. And we're writing a different topic this time. But our coach says, the journey's happening to you, but it ain't for you. Meaning that, just like, where you said you were experiencing postpartum depression and you just, at the time, you just didn't know how you were going to get past that to just take care of your family, let alone do all of this stuff. But it's kind of from that. And, I can kind of relate to that as well, because, from my being a mom and the challenges that I had, like, I didn't know I was going to be a parent educator and a consultant for sure. I mean, you know, um, earned my MBA in corporate marketing, and that's what I thought I was going to be doing, and so, but God kind of had different plans. So I can definitely relate to that. So let's tell our viewers all the different places where they can follow you and find you, even though some of these people already know, but let's tell everybody else.
So you can find me on Facebook, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm not that active on Facebook. Just because it's a lot to kind of go, to all of them, but Instagram, and my website, thefunnymama.com. So everything is the Funny Mama, MOMMA. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining. And I'm glad I caught you now, because I know once this cookbook people actually have the cookbook in their hands and, and continue to buy all of that mama merch, I'm not even gonna be able to catch up with you, I'm sure.
Oh,
so,
no, definitely.
I thank you so much for taking time to join me tonight. So
thank you so much for having me. I had such a great time.
absolutely, absolutely. And let me see if there's any more, just more. Thank you, Ruth, for tuning in. Amazing story, another person. And let's see. Okay, somebody, Helen said, so I don't cook, but your recipes look good and are worth a try.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thanks again for joining. And I just look forward to seeing what you're going to be doing next.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. And tomorrow I'm going to be on a guest, actually. I'm going to be on the other side of the mic tomorrow with Dr. Lynn McGee on good mental health. And we're going to talk a little bit about my motherhood journey and my transition from marketing manager to mother of the year. We'll talk about that. And then also just talk about my raising my two boys in general and all of the adventures that entails. So I hope you tune in at 1 p.m. You can tune in at WOLB 1010 a.m. or you can tune in at WOLBbaltimore.com. So I will be talking to everybody tomorrow, and thank you again, Katryce.
Thank you.
All right.